What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Masayuki's inner voice was ignored. But what was this voice that had been running through his mind? He wasn't sure, but without much idea what he had fully unlocked at all, he decided not to think about it. A unique skill certainly sounded fancy, but if he'd obtained it that readily, it must not have been anything too powerful. He wasn't that interested in it, really, now wasn't the time. He had no interest whatsoever in facing forward against Jinrai. He was intending to spit his gum in his face and run, about the most cowardly approach possible. It was unclear how anyone could interpret that as courageous in any way, shape, or form. But despite his thoughts on the matter, things kept on happening to him.
What's this, feeling overpowering me? You're no kind of weakling at all.
Jinrai, brimming with confidence a moment ago, was now visibly sweating before Masayuki. He was chewing his gum, an unconscious attempt to keep calm, but it only disturbed Jinrai even more.
You're casting some kind of arcane spell? Well, I don't care who you are. I'm gonna kill you.
With a shout, the enraged Jinrai went at Masayuki. What happened next, he couldn't quite keep up with at first. He stood there, unable to parse this. Jinrai was just a step away, winding up to punch him. Masayuki groggily gave him a glance. His foe's gigantic fist was headed straight for him. Oh crap, this is it. He closed his eyes and ducked, trying to dodge it. There was no way he'd avoid it in time, he knew, so he just wanted to brace himself for the pain ahead. But the worst-case scenario he pictured never came to pass. Yes, there was pain, but just a little twinge on his forehead. It struck him as odd. Gingerly, he opened his eyes. There, he saw a toppled Jinrai, face up on the floor and completely unconscious.
Huh?
Masayuki grunted, completely unaware of what had happened. However, his asinine utterance was drowned out by the cheers erupting around him.
Wow, he didn't even need both arms to beat the Mad Wolf.
I can't believe it. Did you see how he moved?
I did. He dodged that swipe by a hairbreadth, then slammed his head right into his chest. What a master.
Who could that kid be anyway?
The crowd of onlookers was murmuring all around him. This was, however, due to the combined effects of Masayuki's chosen one skill all working in tandem. Heroic Aura. An overpowering aura that can be unleashed by champions. Also acquired by Gazel, King of the Dwarves. Lesser enemies will be frozen on the spot, awed by this unique aura and ready to take orders from its wielder. Heroic Compensation. Grants the user immense luck, making all regular attacks critical blows. The effect is applied to any companions of the user as well. Also has the effect of making anything the Chosen One says and does interpreted in a positive light by the people around them, a starkly powerful effect. Heroic Charm. Rouses the hearts of anyone watching the user in action, reducing their fear and stimulating their bravery. Anyone affected trusts in the champion, seeking to travel in their path. As another effect, anyone defeated by the champion will join their side and become their companion. This effect also applies to all non-undead monsters. Heroic Action. The user's activities are all the first steps to becoming a champion. They provide guidance for their companions, eventually earning them all praise. Further, that was the gist of what the unique skill Chosen One offered. It was actually one of the rarest of all uniques, a superior skill that ranked up there with the ultimate in superpowers, alongside skills like absolute severance and unlimited imprisonment, as wielded by the heroes of the past. Jinrai may have been strong enough to call the shots around this town, but he was powerless against Masayuki's skill. Unfortunately, Masayuki himself had no idea about any of this. He had just fully unlocked one of the most fearsome uniques anyone in this world could ever dream of, and he was clueless about it. He was clueless, but fortunately, that was all right. Chosen One was a passive skill. Masayuki wanted to be a hero, and now that Chosen One was his, there was no stopping it. And whether he wanted to or not, Masayuki was hurtling toward a new, heroic destiny at unstoppable speed.
Yes, a blonde-haired hero.
It must be. I have heard of this.
Ah yes, there was a hero like this in the past, no? I heard he went missing.
Has he been revived?
The rumblings had grown into a roar.
A hero?
A hero, you say?
It couldn't be.
But look at that strength. It must be so.
He couldn't be sure who'd said it first, but the crowd was quickly growing convinced they had a hero in their midst. This hair's just a dye job. But by the time Masayuki realized, it was already too late. There was passion in the crowd's eyes, they sparkled, as if transfixed on someone they looked up to.
Huh? You have the wrong person.
He hurriedly tried to deny it but was drowned out by a loud, rumbling voice at his feet.
Fall back, all of you. How dare you act so flippantly toward the hero who bested me with such ease?
Jinrai, the giant of a man Masayuki had defeated out of pure luck, stood up and started shouting at the crowd. He turned toward Masayuki, dusting himself off, and bowed to him.
Please excuse my rudeness from before. I had no idea you were a hero.
No, I'm telling you, I'm not.
My name is Jinrai. I'm something of a well-known adventurer around these parts. People call me the Mad Wolf. Guess I let my fame get to my head a little. Sorry about that. Facing the brunt of your skills, hero, taught me just how much I have to learn. Could I humbly ask you to let me join your side?
He bowed his head even deeper. Masayuki couldn't begin to deal with this. Here was this monolith-like man, begging him to be his lackey, and he had no idea what to do about it.
Well, actually, I'm really not a hero or anything.
Oh, are you trying to keep the fact a secret, perhaps? What shall I call you, then? I would love to hear your name as well.
Jinrai grinned at him, turning a deaf ear to Masayuki's desperate denials. There was nothing Masayuki could do. The crowd, shouted down and silenced by Jinrai's roaring, nervously watched them both. Well, he thought, whatever.
My name's Masayuki. Just Masayuki is all right. I've just arrived in town, and...
If Jinrai was being this subservient to him, he thought, maybe he could earn a free dinner out of it. Plus, if he kept playing dumb, maybe Jinrai could fill him in on this world a little more, 2 birds with 1 stone. But, once again, events were moving far more rapidly than what he'd expected.
I understand.
Jinrai replied with a knowing smile. Then he came closer, bringing his lips to Masayuki's ear.
You've only just revived, haven't you, Sir Hero?
Huh? Masayuki thought at first. But this was one misunderstanding that was best taken advantage of. It didn't seem like Jinrai was much interested in his protesting, besides. Plus, he reasoned, maybe it's better to frame it this way anyway. It'd probably kill this guy's pride if he lost to some kid, but losing to a hero is different. So Masayuki stopped bothering to plead with people not to call him a hero. This turned out to be a dreadful mistake. Why? Because it gave birth to the legend of Lightspeed, Masayuki the hero. In short time, Masayuki was taken in by the representatives from the Free Guild, who had quickly run to the scene and transported him to the capital of the Kingdom of Anglacia. There he met Yuki Kagarazaka.
You've had it tough, too, huh?
Hearing that almost made Masayuki cry, despite himself. But as he learned, this boy Yuki had lived in this world for nearly 10 years now, older in age but still childlike in appearance. Based on his actual age, he would have been transported here back when he was in middle school. It's been even harder for him, huh? Masayuki composed himself. Now was no time for crying. If anything, he was inspired more than ever to do his best. After discussing matters with Yuki, Masayuki decided to try becoming an adventurer. He had a useful companion in Jinrai for this, and Yuki promised to make arrangements on his behalf as well. Masayuki, not wanting to be a burden on Yuki forever, figured that adventuring was the easiest way for him to become independent.
I'm not sure how it happened,
Masayuki said.
but at least I know how to speak the language. Compared to you, I guess I might have lucked out a little, huh?
You absolutely did. I can't even tell you how hard it was at first. But I had a teacher in my own life, too, so it wasn't that painful. Thanks to having magic and everything, it's actually pretty easy to pick up the spoken language.
That much, Yuki explained, could be learned through magic, although learning how to read and write had to be done the traditional, painstaking way. The guild leader looked through a set of documents, introducing Masayuki to people who could become potential work companions.
Ah, this reminds me of Bernie. He learned how to speak magically, too.
Bernie was a young man, a graduate of the Anglacia Institute, and another otherworlder Yuki had harbored for a time. A native of the United States, Bernie could speak only English at first, which made even communicating with Yuki slow going. With the right sort of magic, however, things were sorted out quickly, and the experience made Bernie interested enough in magic that he wanted to study it in school. Now he was a freshly minted adventurer, one looking for fellow party members to work with, and Masayuki and Jinrai seemed to fit the bill perfectly. So they became a 3-man adventuring team, a job Masayuki grew proficient in with overwhelming speed. By the time half a year passed, their party was being called Team Lightspeed, already the stuff of lore. Jinrai was ranked C+, but as one onlooker said in their first encounter, he was really more B-level in terms of skill. His strength, paired with Bernie's magic, made it possible to handle hunting runs at a stable clip. Masayuki had learned kendo, but only at the most casual of levels. He was an amateur, but an amateur with Chosen One in his arsenal. The skill applied itself to his companions as well, which meant every attack they dealt out landed critically. As a result, anyone with Masayuki was always performing above their regular abilities. Jinrai could even give you a performance that overcame the barrier to rank A. It also made it harder for enemies to hit them, an extra blessing that made them all but unbeatable. But that wasn't even the best part about Chosen One. Astoundingly, anything and everything Masayuki's companions did was treated as Masayuki's own accomplishments. All praise and adulation for Team Lightspeed was heaped upon the shoulders of Masayuki alone, leading him to acquire the Lightspeed name for himself over time. His participation in a battle tournament held around that time in Anglacia helped to further the spread of that alias. He joined it so he could use the prize money to shore up his equipment, but he barely broke a sweat all the way to the winner's podium. Simply unsheathing his sword would make his opponents give and plead for mercy. The crowd assumed Masayuki had laid down some kind of Lightspeed attack. He never did, but they didn't understand that, and having the name, Lightspeed Masayuki, only further encouraged them to overrate his skills. This was all thanks to Chosen One, and while Masayuki was aware of that, there was no stopping now. Or, to be more accurate, he didn't know how to stop it. It was impossible to resist this skill unless you had a unique skill of your own, and since Masayuki couldn't deliberately turn it off, it was a given that the rumors would keep spreading. It gave Masayuki a stomachache thinking about it, but it didn't do anything bad for him, either. So he decided to just give up, at least pretend to live to the expectations of the people, and keep playing the role of a hero. By this time, he had been joined by a fourth companion, a young girl named Jiwoo. Gifted in fairly high-level spirit magic, she had followed the rumors to Masayuki's doorstep. She'd rebuked him at first, assuming him to be a villain calling himself hero for nefarious purposes, but over time, she grew to trust him. And despite her peculiarities, the healing spells she cast made her the keystone of the party's exploits. Thus Masayuki and his companions continued their steady advance at virtual breakneck speed. He was now an A-level adventurer, still undefeated in battle sport, and after less than a year of life in Anglacia, he was part of the hero echelon. It had been, to say the least, an eventful year. This was all still something that shocked even him, but by now, Masayuki had grown accustomed to being called a hero. I guess it's true, he detachedly thought. People really can get used to just about anything. But despite all the adulation, he still kindled deep-seated doubts about himself on a daily basis. And before long, he was facing a major turning point in his life.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shoutout to Stratus Lampro, Tempest, Janmar Di Malalawan, Flair SP, Sewang Rigzin, Cedric Casio, Muhammad Norais Alican, Wingards, Cruel Senpai, and last but not the least, shoutout to Warriors of Athens. I'll see you guys in the next video.